What's up, Notjust developers, and welcome back to the full stack thread clone that we're building in React Native, Expo, and Supabase. Today, we're going to continue working on the threads clone, which, if you don't know about threads, is very similar to Twitter or X. It's a social media application with posts, with a feed, with replies, where replies are actually posts in themselves. This is very typical to Twitter and threads. We're going to implement all of these features together with creating these threads, profile pages, editing profiles, and so on. Well, this is a tutorial using the following tech stack. We're using React Native and Expo. We're using Expo router for the navigation. We are using Native Wind, which is Tailwind CSS for React Native applications. We're using Supabase for our backend to implement authentication, database, storage. We are using Tanstack query to fetch the data in our application. And by doing this, the goal is to help you build end-to-end applications using React Native and Expo. Doing this, we are also learning how to build and style modern UI with Native Wind, with class names, and using AI tools to speed up the development, because nowadays, if we're not using AI tools, we are being left behind. So yeah, we're also learning about building backends and connecting them to our React Native application, and for that we are using Supabase to implement authentication. That also involves Expo router there to design the database, query it, and protect our data with security, with policies. And using Tanstack query to manage remote data. So if you're ready, let's get started and let's roll the intro. Perfect. Before we start, a quick thing to say: there is a step-by-step guide that you can get on our website following notjust.dev/project/threads. You're also going to find it in the link in the description below. And one more thing. This is the second episode of this tutorial where we're going to add more features to the things that we already built in the first episode. And I'm going to go ahead and do a quick demo. Here is the first version, the build that we have done in the first episode, which if you're interested, you can check out. Also, we're gonna leave a link in the description below. Here we have a home screen with posts. We can go ahead and create a new post. The new post will automatically appear here in the list, as we can see at the bottom. We have different tabs. We implemented all of this, we designed this, and we connected it with the Supabase backend by designing the database, which has currently two tables, one for user profiles. For each users, we're gonna keep the information in a table, and about the posts, which has information about who is the user who created it, the content, and so on. And we implemented everything in our application, querying with Tanstack query, rendering the components, using the Expo router, and so on. Today, we're going to continue on this route, and I want to help you add additional features and the must-have features that you would need when building a social media application. Because in a lot of cases, I know that you guys are watching these tutorials either to learn, or you have a project that is similar to a social media application like Twitter or Threads, and you want to see how everything is put together. So for that reason, let's go ahead and continue. And today, we're gonna first go ahead and implement the post details page. Like if we press on one of these posts, we want to open another page. From there, we're going to implement replies, which is going to be very specific because they are going to, it's not going to be a different entity like comments or something like that. It's going to be the same post, but linked to the parent post through a field called parent ID. And yeah, this is going to be interesting how to do that. We're going to display the amount of replies here and so on. And then we're going to try to do the likes and some editing of profile and maybe the storage. And if you have any ideas of what you'd like me to see built by the end of this tutorial, let me know in the chat. This tutorial is live. Hello everyone who's joining us today live. And yeah, let me know. Is there a GitHub repo to the existing project? Yes, there is. Like if you go to the step-by-step guide, notjust.dev/project/threads, you're going to, let's go here, project threads. You're going to see the asset bundle here. Go ahead, leave your email, and you're going to receive the link to the step-by-step guide. And the first thing here at the top, you're going to see the source code. So the source code, this one contains everything, and I'm actually going to, help you by doing git status. I'm going to do a separate branch called part2 start, and I'm going to do git push origin part2 start, so that there in the repository you're going to see a new branch called part2 start, which is going to be exactly the code that I have today at the beginning of this video. So you can check out there. I'm going to go back and never touch this branch again, so that you can start together with me from the same point if you haven't followed the first episode. Now everything is good and we can continue. All right, so let's go ahead and let's get started with the details page of a post. First, we're going to need a separate screen, and for that, we're going to think, where should we create that screen? Well, first of all, if a screen should be protected and only accessible by an authenticated user, everything should be inside this protected thing. Later is either we create it in the protected folder or we go inside the tabs. That really depends on how we want, if we want to see the tabs at the bottom of the screen when we navigate to that post details page. If we want to see the bottom tabs when we are inside that page, then we're going to have to move inside the tabs. Otherwise, we're going to stay outside that tabs folder. And for that, I'm going to actually look at some of the screenshots to see, like usually, I keep them outside the tabs, the post details page. Here, let's see. Here I see that it's actually inside the tabs. So when here is the post details page, and we see that we are actually inside these tabs. For that reason, this is going to be a little bit more complicated, but it's a very common pattern, and I'm going to show you how to achieve that. Well, first things first, we know that the post details page that we see here on the screen is inside the tabs because we see the bottom tabs when we are there. That means that we have to create them somewhere inside the tabs. If I simply create it here like post details .tsx and do an export default function like this, the problem in this case is that it's going to appear as a separate tab because the post details that we just created, the layout that it is inside is this layout from the folder tabs, and it renders the tabs. It renders it as a tab. Well, how can we add it inside the tabs but not as a new and separate tab? You might think that maybe we can remove simply visually from that part, but it's actually not the case, because being on this thread, we see that we still are on the profile page. Being on this thread, we are on the home page. So that means that one of these screens, one of the existing tabs, should be transformed from one single screen to a group of screens. What do I mean by that? Let's start with the home. I'm going to create a new folder here, and I'm going to call it home, where it's a folder. I'm going to call it home. Again, if you don't want this to change the URL, we can put it in parentheses like this. And I'm going to move this index to inside the home. Well, at the moment, I don't think it changed anything. But if I move a post details also in the home, again, it doesn't change anything. Like it still has tabs for the home index and for the home post details. But because a folder in itself, if it doesn't have a layout, all the screens inside that folder are going to be part of a parent layout. So a screen is trying to attach to the first layout that it finds in the parent folders. To make sure that we group this index and post details in one stack group, we have to create their own layout here. Let's create the layout.tsx. It should be underscore layout. And let's export the default home layout. And the way we want to group the screens in the home stack is going to be a stack. So let's return a stack from Expo router. Not like this, like this. So now what we see is that we already have, again, 5 tabs, not 6. By going into the tabs layout, I'm going to go first where I see index, and I'm going to change how we access it, because it's no longer index, it's going to be home like this. The tab, change the name to home, but the title and everything else, like the icon, should remain the same. Now we are back to the beginning where the home is the first tab. The good thing is that now it has, when we are on this tab, we can either be on the index, which is going to be the flat list, or we can be on the post details. And let's see how we can get on post details. That is going to happen when we click on one of these posts. For that reason, I'm going to go into the components, post list item. And I'm going to make sure that when we click on this view, we navigate to the post details. To do that, we're going to need to wrap this into a link. And I'm going to close the link at the bottom. And let's import this link from Expo router. The link is going to go to /post details /post ID. This is not yet needed, so let's do it like this. Let's see, I think it works, but in a lot of cases, this is going to break some styles. So usually I do as child here, but when we do as child, we fix the styles, but we might break like the pressability. Now if I press, nothing happens, because when the link has the as child, it basically attaches to the child on press event. And the problem here is that the view does not have a on press event. To fix it, we simply import pressable and replace this view with a simple pressable, which is the same view, but it has already press events. Make sure the closing tag is also pressable. Now everything is back to normal. So as you can see, now being on the home screen, I can either be on the feed or I can be on the post details page. Let's finish it up with adjusting a little bit the headers, because we currently have 2 headers. One is coming from this stack from home layout, but the thing is that this stack needs the header because it contains the back button. So the thing that doesn't need a header is going to be the parent from the tabs layout, where we have title home. I'm going to say header shown false, and it's going to remove the header coming from the tab, and we'll keep it from the stack. So now we can navigate. We only have one header, and the last thing to do is to provide proper titles there in the stack.screen. with a name index. That's going to be, let's do title or options, yeah. Options, title, home or feed, something like that. And this post details is going to be post details. Okay, now it works. In the post details, you can also adjust like how you want the back button to look like, because here it says back. You can adjust that by saying header back display mode. Is it default, generic, and minimal? Minimal, I know that is just going to be the arrow. The generic, is it going to be back? If I go here, yeah, generic is going to show back, similar to how we have here at the top, back. Perfect. So the next step is to, when we navigate to one of these post details, we actually have to send their ID. To send their ID, what we have to do is to pass a dynamic path parameter. What do I mean by that? Well, first of all, let me think how we're going to structure it here. Most probably, I'm going to simply create a new folder called post, or maybe posts. And inside post, I'm going to create a file with the dynamic path parameter ID. And to make it a variable, like a path parameter, I'm going to put it in the square brackets. And everything from post details, I'm going to move here, and I'm going to remove a post details. Now from this layout, I'm going to access it by name by accessing post/ID. And because this folder does not have a stack, like it's going to be managed at this level. Because post folder does not have a layout, that screen is going to be managed here, and it's going to be accessible by this, like with a slash. And now everything is good, but when we, in the link, we need to say we want to redirect to slash posts slash and a dynamic variable post ID. By doing that, we append in a URL the ID of the post that we are navigating to. And on that screen, we can get access to this ID parameter using them. Use local search parameters hook imported from Expo router. You can also specify the type here, saying that ID is of type string. And if I'm going to do here post details ID, and also make sure that this text is white, if I redirect there, I see the ID of that post. And all the posts have different IDs. Perfect. Now, having this ID, first things first is we need to fetch the data from our database, from Supabase. We need to fetch a post by that ID. We're going to do that using the useQuery hook. Remember, if we look in the home index where we have this flat list, you're going to see that we are using the useQuery to query the list of posts by using the Supabase select and so on. Something similar we are going to have to do in this screen. Let's go ahead and do it together. Well, we're going to get data is loading an error. This is something very common that we always get back, like when we fetch something. We're going to get them by calling useQuery from Tanstack query. And the two important options here is the query key, which we're going to define. The query key is always an array, and we're going to start it with the same key as our feed, which is posts here, but we're going to append the dynamic parameter ID in order to make sure that fetching different posts will not overwrite the old ones, but will store them in their independent place. And that's happening by this query key. Like, this is how we specify how do we want to cache this data. And the query function can be get post by ID, and I can implement the get post by ID here using await Supabase from post, select everything, and the Supabase is going to be from our library. We select everything from posts, where the ID is equal to this ID that we pass here, and we do dot single in order to take not an array of items, but only the first item. And we can even do throw an error. And I don't need the error here. So now we can do, if this query is still loading, I'm going to return an activity indicator from React Native. If it's error, I'm going to return a text, maybe with a class name white. And otherwise, I'm going to say, let's initially do console log data, which I can rename it to post, but I can keep it that as well. If I reload and go to the post details page, I'm going to see the content and everything else. One thing that I'm going to change is I'm going to look back in the index where we fetch all the posts, and I'm going to copy the same select fields from here, because I don't just want to fetch the details about the post, but I also want to fetch details about the user profile, the owner who posted that. So that's why I have it here like this. Now the data will contain the user information as well. For example, if I go back and come here, it's going to have content and user. And that means that I can simply render here a post list item in the same way as I have it on the feed. I will do the same here. So as you can see, now everything is working. And going to different, for example, going to a new post is going to display that a new post. Perfect. The title is called thread. So maybe I'm going to say in this layout where I have post details, I'm going to say thread. Perfect. And that's it. That's our post details page. So to recap, we had to transform one of the tabs from a single screen to a group of screens by putting them into a folder and adding a layout inside that folder with another navigator, such as a stack, for example. And then we created these dynamic path parameter posts that will receive ID through the URL, will fetch the post from Supabase, and will render it on the screen like this. And yeah, that's our git add, git commit -m post details screen. Let's see some questions. Hello everyone who is joining us live. How are you doing, guys? Do you use log files for multi-user application? Do you use log files for multi-user application? Can you give me an example? Like what exact log files are you specifying? I don't know how can I handle this issue for user errors and activity logs. Damn, he focused so hard. Yeah, thank you. Like I'm trying to stay focused to deliver like the message clearly. And from time to time, I stop for a couple of minutes to have a chat with you guys. Hello, Tardin Davy. Hello, Bruno. Hello, Lark. Hello, Ash, Vladimir. Dynamic link would be cool. If someone provide link to the thread, it open in its details page when link presses. Yes, I was just building step by step, but now it has a dynamic link. And if we press here W to open it on web, even if it might not look perfectly fine, like the login page looks nice. I don't really remember my login credentials that I created. Here it is. So even though like the UI might not be perfectly fine, but it's working. So the good thing is that if I press now on one of these posts, you're going to see the URL is the URL/post/the ID of that post. Very similar to how like other social medias are doing. So yeah. Very good question. Let me zoom it in. I'm wondering if you could just pass data to post detail screen instead of fetching it again from database. I could, but that's not a best practice. Why? Like, think about passing as least amount of data between screens in order to make these screens stand alone. What do I mean by that? If I would pass data from the home screen to the detail screen, in that case, you assume that the only way user get on the detail screen is through the home screen. What happens later if someone sends you a link to the post screen and you go there and there is no data because you're not coming from the home screen? Imagine here, like someone sends you this URL. If I just go to a new tab and paste the URL, I should be able to see that post without having to go through the home screen. Does that make sense? This is one thing, like post details pages and everything like details, they should usually be standalone and just simply sending one ID without having to send like bunch of data there. And the good thing is that your ID is like instead of fetching it again from the database. The benefit is that we are using the use query hook, and with this use query, like with TanStack query, we can adjust how long do we want this query to be cached. For example, we can say stale time would be, what's that, like 1 second, this is 1 minute, this is 5 minutes. And if I do that, let me show you what's happening. For example, here, console log fetching post by ID. So look, I'm gonna go ahead and open the first page. I see fetching post by ID. I'm gonna come back and I'm going to go again here. Well, we are not fetching again this post because we said that this data can be stale for 5 minutes, meaning that we believe it's not going to change that often. So keep it in cache and use it in cache and don't fetch it from the database again if you come here. If I go to the second post, we're going to see, okay, it's the first time, so I'm going to fetch it from the database. If I go back and come back here, it's going to be here, like it's not going to refetch it again. And another reason why that idea of sending the whole data from one screen to another is not the best way is that different screens require different data. On the home screen, where is it? On the home screen, I might not get all the data. For example, I might only get the ID and content because that's the only thing I need here. But on the details page, I might also need the likes and so on. So this opens up the door for a lot of unexpected behavior. That's why let the screen decide what data it needs and let it fetch it itself, and then simply cache the data to optimize the speed. And that's it. Then you're gonna have like a very good user experience and a robust application that does what it's supposed to do in most of the cases, and you're going to prevent like unexpected bugs. Where are we at? Are you going to create a playlist after completing these threads? It would be nice if you create one. Yeah, we're gonna try to do that, but you're gonna find, like, if you go to our channel live streams, you're going to find it. Some users have access to see tables, some users haven't. Sometimes all users can see tables. What's happening and which error code I want to know? Like, if you want to have visibility in what's happening in your mobile applications, I'm not talking here about backend, I'm talking about mobile application. I highly recommend you to integrate Sentry. And if your application is going to crash, you're going to send it to Sentry, and then you're going to have visibility into that. So yeah, this is the solution for that. If we're talking about backend, in that case, like, yeah, there are different types of logs. Perfect. Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and continue. What I want next is most probably post replies. So if we look here in the guide, we see that when we get on this page, on the details page, at the bottom we have an add to thread component. The add to thread is right at the end of the screen. So let's go ahead in the tabs, home, post ID. And after the post list item, we're going to have, I'm going to create it as a separate component because it's going to be responsible for creating a new post. And I like to keep things together, like UI and the create mutation and so on. So in the components, let's create a new component called post reply input, right? Post reply input. Yeah, I think that's good. Export default function post reply input. Let's return a view, and inside it a text input with a placeholder add. How is it to thread? Something like that. Let's go ahead and import this view and text input from React Native. And now I'm going to simply go ahead in the post detail page and render the post reply input after rendering the post list item. Make sure to import it at the top. Come on. Import it from components. So if I go here, I'm going to see it, but it's going to be displayed at the top. For now, the thing is that everything on this page is going to be a scroll view. So let me think about that. I'm wondering if, yeah, it's going to be a scroll view of posts. I'm wondering if a header is moving or not. Let me just open the application to have an idea of how they implemented it. Here. Yeah, everything moves. Okay, so I'm going to try to figure out like the layout before that. The thing that we need to keep in mind is that on this page, the whole thing is actually a flat list of comments, and the post details is simply the header of that list. Like, everything else is a flat list of comments. So for that reason, everything here, instead of this view, this view, I'm not going to need it anyway, but I'm going to keep it for a second. It's going to be a flat list with comments. For now, I'm going to say that the comments is an empty thing. And the way we render the comments is still going to be a post list item, right? I think so. But we're gonna come back here later. Like, speaking about rendering the comments, we're going to think a bit later, but we just need like the layout. Like the whole page here is a list of comments where the post is going to be the list header component. So this post list item goes in the header, and we no longer need to render it here because it has to be scrollable together with post data here. And the post reply input is going to be at the end. Let me see if that should be post list footer. I don't think that's the case because the footer is going to be actually at the end of the screen. And if we have a lot of things, it's not going to be always visible on the screen. We're going to have to scroll to find it. So for that reason, I'm going to do it like this. I'm going to keep it outside. I'm going to make sure that this flat list is flex 1. Making this take the whole screen will make the flat list take all the available space and move this post reply at the end. Okay, that looks good. I'm going to go inside post reply and start styling this one. For example, the view itself will have some padding, like padding 4. This one will have padding 4 as well, like we need a big one. I don't like this color, neutral, maybe it's going to look better. And actually, maybe it's not going to be the text input that has this background, because think about it, like the text input is just this part. It looks like everything, but it's only the part in the middle, because we have like images, we have icons. So for that reason, this is going to be the outer view. I'm going to have an inner view that contains the text input inside, and that inner view is going to have this background and this padding and this rounded. Like the text input is just going to be inside there. Excel. Yeah, that's good. And I want here after the text input to put an icon, a plus icon. Let's go ahead in Expo vector icons. And let's search for plus. I think this one looks good from Ant Design. I'm going to put it here. It should be actually white, and I will import it from Expo vector icons. I want to put them in the same row, so for that reason in this view I'm going to say that it should be flex row. The text input itself should be flex 1 because I want it to take all the maximum amount of space. Yeah, I think that's good. Maybe a gap here will be good because that will add some spaces between them. Yeah, I think that should be nice. Gainsborough will be a very light, like almost white, but not like pure white. Add to thread, that's good. The whole background of this page like is not pure black. If I want, maybe I'm going to do here a BG neutral. Yep. Even the header is like a neutral. Wait a second. What's going on here? think I actually took the actual color of this background, no? It's 10, 10, 10. And I think I did that at the root layout here, card 10, 10, 10. Because if I do red here, okay, the card is 10, 10, 10, but the background is not 10. Okay, now it's better because the cards were 10, 10, 10. But I wanted the page background to also be 10, 10, 10. Okay, now it's good. Nice. I like this dark style. And you can also, like on the post reply input, why I did that is the one that has the background can also have a shadow. Not sure if it's going to be visible very much. For some reason, we made it like super visible here. And yeah, I think it's visible. Maybe shadow simply. Shadow MD. Yeah, I will leave it like that. All right, now what do we need? We need to assign here a text, right? A state that will be attached with its text input as value is equal to text. And on change text will update this value. Perfect. So if I do here, blah, 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 it's going to type there. We see that the color of the text should be changed. So I'm going to do here text white. Perfect. Text white. And let's see if I do a long thing. Maybe it's going to be multi-line. And if you do multi-line, if it's true, like it can be like this. Okay. And do we want the plus to be in the center? If you want that, like we give here item center. If you want like more spaces between the rows, we can do text. I think it's leading or just leading. And here we can do normal. And it will, yeah, I think it's good. Now, I'm not sure what's up. I think like with this leading, I messed it up, so I will leave it like this. All right, so the UI is done. The next step is going to be to insert this reply into the database. We know that we've done that on the new thread thing. So I'm going to take some inspiration from there. In the new page, I have here use mutation. Let's copy this one here together with a query client, together with a user of. And let's go into the post reply input and paste it here. I'm going to need here the use of from our providers. I'm going to need the query client. I'm going to need a mutation, and I'm going to need this create post mutation. And I'm going to need the router back. I don't think I need router back actually, because yeah, after sending a reply, I don't want to go back. I will still be there. This one, I'm going to think what I need to do there, but everything else like is good now. Okay, perfect. Now this create post, it's either we are bringing it from here, where is it? From the new page. We have this create post. It's either we're duplicating it and putting it here at the top, or better, it's time to extract these logics into reusable services that we can reuse in different places. Because again, a reply in our case is the same post that has a parent ID. For that reason, what I want to do is I want to extract like logic of interacting with Supabase from our components to source services. And let's create the first one here, posts service.ts. The one that I want to do is that from the new.tsx, I'm going to extract this create post. And I'm going to extract it to this service. I'm going to make sure to do export here. I'm going to make sure to import Supabase. And back to the new page, I need to do import create post from services, post services. Maybe I don't even need to add service at the end. I'm just going to keep it like this. Services/posts. Now that I have that, it's going to do create post. Good. In the create post here, where? In the service. I'm going to adjust this function to also be able to do post replies. Or maybe let's simply reuse it in the post reply input and do import without any modifications. I'm going to import create post and I'm going to do that. I'm going to lastly call this mutate function. When we press on this plus circle on press, I want to call mutate. And is going to be disabled if it's pending or if text length is equal to 0. If there is no reply, I'm not going to be able to do that. And cursor is also suggesting me Gainsborough to change the color. No, I'm going to do with Gainsborough here, but with gray here. Yeah, so when I start, it's enabled. If I go back, like it's disabled. So if I do reply now and do plus, what's going to happen is we are supposed to see the reply in the database here. With everything good, like created at, user ID, the content and so on, the only problem is that we also want the parent ID to be set. The parent ID to be set, we need to adjust this create post function by bringing in another variable here, parent ID, and sending it here. Maybe it's going to be parent ID string, or is it going to be undefined or null? Let's see by doing string or undefined. Let's go back to the post reply input and say that here in the create post, I want to reply to the parent. But where do we get the parent ID? Well, back to the details page, the whole page. Here we have ID of that post. That means that when we render the post reply, I'm going to see, say, reply post equal to data. Do I want to send the whole post or do I want to just send the ID? And in that case, I don't have to take it from data. I can take it from the ID itself. I'm only going to send the ID, and in the post reply here, I'm going to receive the post ID as a string, and I can send it as the third parameter to the create post function to specify that new reply, if I do that, it's going to be new reply here, assigned a parent ID that links this reply to the post that we are replying to. Perfect. That's good. I just want to check in the new. The problem is that now, yeah, like TypeScript create post here doesn't like it because we're not sending the parent ID. But in this screen, in the new, we actually want an undefined post ID because it's not a reply, it's a original post. So I'm gonna think like I can of course send here an undefined, where I can think here to adjust it a little bit and say that create. Actually, there is one thing. If I'm going to, the last thing that we did in the first episode is we generated types from Supabase automatically. You don't need to look into that, but I'm going to show what I mean. If I go into the database, I have types for our tables, which has, like, for example, posts, has content, it has created at, parent ID, and so on. But it also has the posts insert, which contains everything. For example, ID optional or parent ID optional, user ID it's not optional, and so on. So what I mean by that is that I can use this type that is auto-generated and will always be up to date with our database schema. I can do that in our services and say that I need here a post input. So type post input equal to, I'm not sure if it's tables post is going to be, or yeah, tables post insert. No, let me think tables. Types, database types. It's going to be database. 1 second, I'm going to remember. This is the tables. Tables insert. Yeah, it's going to be tables insert. And now the post input has all the parameters with their fields in an object similar to what Supabase expects how our schema, how our database looks like. And instead of having separate fields here, I'm going to remove everything, and I'm going to say new post is of type post input. And here I'm just going to say, hey, create me a new post like this. And now going to the new, I'm going to have to change it a little bit because it's no longer like different parameters. It's going to be one object. And here is going to be content, the type of text, and user ID, this user ID. And our TypeScript is happy. Backend post reply, I'm going to have to do the same. I'm going to put it into an object where the text goes into content. The user ID of the authenticated users go into the user ID here. And the post ID here is going into the parent ID. All good. Now it's time to double check if everything is still working. Testing replies. Let's see in the database if testing replies is added and has parent ID. It does. And let's double check testing new post. If I do post, let's double check that. It should be testing new post. Come on, where is it? I can also sort descending on the created at and having everything at the top. Testing new post works with parent ID null. Perfect. And now this type, like I'm not gonna have to manually keep it, like it's always going to be up to date. And if I change the database schema, it's going to be reflected here. And TypeScript is going to tell me like, hey, maybe something is not up to date, like you have to do some changes in like what data you send there. All right, so this is adding the post reply. Yeah, the next step is going to be to fetch the post reply. So let me do here git add, git commit -m, create post reply. Now the next step is like when I go here on the post, I want to render the replies. To do that, I'm going to go back in the ID here in the post details. And I can get the replies through one more query, or like by fetching the post where post parent ID is equal to this ID. Or maybe, I'm not sure what's going to be easier, so I'm going to try one and see like if it works well. I can also get the replies through the same query. You know what? I'm not going to do that. Similar to how we got, even though I can fetch the replies of this post in the same query, how we did the relationship with the profile, I will not do that just because in future, you're going to want to paginate replies, and you cannot paginate this inside a different query. We need one unique query where you're going to do the paginations. So for that reason, I'm going to do another query very similar to this one. I'm actually going to copy paste it. And actually, instead of copy pasting it here, I'm going to stop for a second and move this get post by ID. You know where? I'm going to take it from here and move it to our services. Get post by ID, and make sure to do export here. Now in here, in the details page, I'm going to import get post by ID from our services posts. And I think I can do the same where. Anywhere else we have get post by ID? No, I think only here. Now in the post services, as I said, I'm thinking, do I create a new function get post replies by ID, or do I adjust this one and add the optional filter here? No, it's actually completely different query. Like that's why I'm not going to do it here. I'm going to do it as a separate one. Get posts replies. Get posts replies. I'm still going to get the ID of a parent post. I'm going to fetch from the table posts all the columns and the owner, like profile data, where the parent ID is equal to this ID. So I'm fetching all the posts that have a parent ID equal to this ID, meaning that they are replies to this post. I'm going to delete this single because I need an array of items. And that's it. Now I will import this get post replies in my post details side by side with this one. And I'm going to fetch it in another query here. And let's see what cursor is suggesting. We first of all rename data to replies, because if we don't do that, it's going to collide with the first one. The first one, you can actually rename it to post if you want to be like, I'm going to scroll down and here post. It's going to make a lot more sense this way. Replies, the query key is very similar to this one, posts ID, but then says replies, and this is good. Like we are kind of building on top of existing one if they are kind of related. Later, I might explain you why we do that. And the query function is get post replies. We take these replies and we send it to this flat list that they might also be undefined. So I'm going to do or empty array if they're actually undefined. If I do that and go to this post, boom, as you can see, we have new reply, we have testing reply, we have another reply that is not going to appear right away, but if I reload and open it here, we see new reply, testing replies, another reply. Perfect. The only thing that I would like now to do, and it's not going to be very hard, is if I go to the post reply input and say I type something here when I press, you saw that it does not appear here automatically. To not fix this, but add this feature of having the post appear automatically, we are going to use this query invalidation. So with the query client, when the mutation of creating a post reply is successful, what we want to do is we want to do query invalidate queries, the query that responds to for the replies. We can do posts ID, where is post ID, and then replies, because this one should match the key of this post, of this query that we are using to fetch the replies. And here it's posts, the post ID and then replies. That's why I have them here as well. So now if I'm going to do are you auto updating, if I do that, you're going to see that it automatically appears here at the bottom because we are invalidating the query. Cool. Let's go ahead and do git add git commit fetch post replies. Another thing that I want to do right now is to... Hello, Rogelio, how are you doing? Before we move, I want to also display, like here in these statistics, how many replies a post has. And that's gonna happen like even on the feed. So first I'm going to go on the feed, home ID, not ID, home index, and I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to extract these fetch posts from here to the services, because everything related to the, I'm going to actually put it even at the top. Everything related to the interactions with Supabase, I'm going to put here in services. And in the index, we're going to do import fetch posts from the services. Perfect. So let's go into these services. When I fetch the posts, as I said, we can fetch different relationships. In the select, we say, give me all the fields of a post, give me also the person who published it, but give me also the count of the replies. To do that, let me remind Supabase fetch count. Count. Countries. No, it should be, yeah, getting data. Querying reference table with count. This is the one. In the fetch data, there is a lot of examples. And here we say from orchestral section, everything instruments count. And response is going to be instruments count for. What's going to be these options? Count exact head. No. Reference tables with count. So we specify the reference table, and the reference table is posts, also posts, and we say count. And let's see what is going to be this data. I can go ahead and console log it here. I can also put it into a JSON stringify to see it better. And I'm going to look in the logs. Okay, we see that we have posts, which is an array, and then count. can I notes? I mean, we already have a count because most of them are 0, but one of them is going to be a different value. I'm not really happy that this is an array and has an object and so on. I'm not sure what's going to be the best way to accomplish that. I mean, replies, at least to rename it. Fetch posts. Why don't I see it? Oh, because I removed it. Anyway, it's going to be renamed to replies. Now in the component that renders a post list item, it is going to be a little bit weird to access it. It's going to be post 0. This is heart chat bubble. This is the replies. So I'm going to access it as post dot replies at position 0 dot count. And if that's not available, I'm going to do 0 because sometimes maybe that's not going to be available. And I'm going to add here a question mark dot to safely access it. Here a question mark. Replies does not exist. Post with user. Post with users and replies. Let me, just keep it like that, not change the name, but I'm going to say replies count number, something like that. Now, if I reload, I'm going to see the first post has 4 replies and everything else 0. And I'm going to go into the post here because if I go on the details page, I'll no longer see it because this replies post count should be added to the get post by ID as well. And to the get post replies as well. And look, now if I'm going to reload, it's going to crash. Not exactly what I wanted, but I just need to reopen it. This happens. So if I go on the first post, I see the number of replies here at the top as well. But look what's going to happen. If now I do one more reply, it's going to appear in this list, but it's not going to change the number automatically. I'll have to reload for that to take effect. That's because when we add a reply, post reply, we invalidate directly the query post ID replies. And if I look in the post details page, you're going to see that this is the key that I'm invalidated, but get the replies. What if I also want to invalidate this one, but get the details of a post? I can do that by invalidating it once again and removing replies from here. And you're going to see that this one works, should work. And if I press plus, 5 should automatically become 6. It becomes 6. But what happens if I will not have a first one altogether? Will it still work? Will it do both things that I'm expected? I'm going to go to one that doesn't have a reply. I expect first the replies to appear automatically and the number of posts to update automatically. Works? As we can see, it actually works. Both of the things, both of the queries from our details screen, this one and this one changed, even though we said invalidate the one with this query key. Well, that's the feature of Tanstack query, and that's why I explained it before that it's good like to kind of group together similar queries with similar prefixes. And here we grouped the post ID both here at the beginning and here at the beginning, and we only add additional stuff that goes more in depth into details. And when we try to invalidate the post by ID, we're going to look at all the query keys that start with this one and will invalidate it. And with this knowledge, like what's going to happen if I don't even put the post ID here? If I just have posts, what do you think is going to happen now? I will add this one here. It will become 7 at the top. It will appear here, and it will even invalidate the feed because the feed has posts. I'm not going to do that because even though like it invalidates a lot of stuff and everything looks very fast, maybe you're not going to want to invalidate the feed every time you post a comment, but maybe you will do. I don't know. It depends on you. I will keep only validating the post details with its replies and everything attached to it. So if I go here, here I see 0 comments. If I write a comment here, I'm going to see that it updates automatically here because I'm on this page. But if I go back, it's not going to update here. And I'm aware of this, and I'm okay with this experience just because I don't want to invalidate so many queries. But again, it's up to you and how you want to do that. By simply removing post ID from here, you're going to invalidate also the feed as well. Whew, that's good. That is the number of likes. And look, what if I go into the first post and I go into the new reply and I say reply to reply. If I do that, it appears as one here. If I go back, perfect. It doesn't update here. So maybe I actually want to do that in order to make sure that all the posts in my application are invalidated. Another reply to reply. If I go back, it's 2. So yeah, that's perfect. As you can see, now we have like very deep way of commenting. Like this post has 7 replies. The first reply has yet another 2 replies, and we can go as deep as we want. 3rd level. And from 3rd level, we can go to 4th level, and so on, like without any limit, similar to how you would expect like in other applications, like Twitter or Threads. Perfect. Let's go ahead and do what did we work on just now? Git status. Git. I forgot what we worked on like conceptually. Oh, fetching the git commit -m fetch number of replies. Fetch number of replies. Good. I'm going to do git push origin main. Before we move on, like also on this topic, let me see if I can do, if I can add the context of a parent. What do I mean by that? Let me see from screenshots. I'm going to be able to showcase that. In this case, both of them are top level. But let me try to see if I can send another screenshot really quickly, where I'm going to go into a reply and it adds context of a parent. Oh, come on, where to go? Okay, here it is. I'm gonna find an easier one. Let me see. Without like images and stuff. Everything is with images. Okay. This is what I'm trying to explain. I'm going to quickly add it in the Notion guide here. And it's going to appear here. If you open a reply, come on. 1 second, it's loading. Yeah, if we are loading, no, is it this one? It's this one. If you're loading a reply, this page is of this reply. It will show the context, the parent at the top and this one at the bottom, and only then replies below. So I'm going to try to do that. It shouldn't be too hard, but it's going to add like that extra layer of coolness. Is this implementation going to be scalable to a large amount of users? Definitely yes. Yep. What if using real-time subscription instead? This only works for the particular users and other users. This, yeah, only works for your device. It's not going to listen to new posts in the backend. For that, yeah, you need like real-time subscriptions, but it adds a little bit of overhead on top. So this is a very simple solution to make sure that after you add something to the cache, to the database, you make sure that all the application knows about it. But yeah, that's another case for subscribing to new data. You're streaming to both Twitch and YouTube. Yeah, I decided to like recently to stream on Twitch as well. If anyone is interested, you can follow me there. I'm still figuring out the Twitch game. Are you planning to add a one-on-one chat or a private feed? I'm not sure if part of this one, but maybe we can do like a separate tutorial on one-on-one chat application, and you can combine it and put it here as well. That would be cool. All right, so what I want you to do is, as I'm showing here, first, let's divide a little bit like how we display stuff. I want to add this replies stuff to know like what are the replies and what is the post, because now like everything looks similar. So what I'm going to do is in the post details page, we had a flat list of replies and we have a header component. I think at the bottom of this header component, I'm going to put a fragment like this, and after it I'm going to put the text. Let's save to put it from a new line and say this one is going to say replies. I'm going to keep it simple without like view activity and so on, just like this replies. Let's make it class name text white. Yeah, I think that should be good. I'm going to also do a padding 4 and maybe a border bottom like this. 800. Yep, should be good. Perfect. Another thing that I'm going to do to also, like, it's going to be a very small change, but I think it improves like the UI a lot, is you see that replies in the list, they are displayed a little bit differently, where the avatar is on the left and the name and content is on the right, while the post is a little bit different because the content is full width below the avatar. So it's also true here, as you can see, it's also true here. So everywhere the post details is slightly a bit different to make it distinct, because like it shows the content full width. So what I'm going to do is, even though, as I said, like it's a very small thing, I'm going to do it because it's going to have like this distinguishment of what is the main post of this page. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to duplicate post list item and do post details. I'm going to go in the post details and I'm going to say post details. I'm going to have everything the same. I'm going to go back in the details screen, and in the flat list where we render replies, I'm going to render post list item, but in the header where we render the main post of this page, I'm going to render post details. Post details, let me check. No, post details. I have to rename this component as post details screen because I want to import post details from our components. So if I go here, doesn't exist. Well, it should exist. Export default post details screen. Let's reload because I believe everything should be going okay. If I go here, yeah. So everything is still looking the same, but the way we render a post in a list and a post on the main page is two different components. And I'm going to go in the post details and adjust slightly the way we render this content, because we want the content to be rendered after the image and after the username and so on. So what I'm going to do is the following. I'm going to leave this user info here. And I think I'm going to simply close this view here, like this, before we render the post content. And we'll find where it was previously closing, probably here, and we'll remove it. Let's see what happened now. Most probably we broke it, but we're gonna fix it slowly. If I go here, yeah, we definitely broke it. Let's figure things out. Well, in the new layout, I have two rows, this one and this one. No, actually, yeah. User avatar. Flex. This one shouldn't be flex row. The whole pressable is no longer a flex row. Okay, good. The avatar is going to be here together with user info. This view is going to be a flex row. Stay with me, but I think we already have it. I'm going to try to get rid of some of the views that I'm not sure I need. For example, this one that just has like a margin right, I don't think I need, and I can manage that through a gap property here. Gap 4 or gap 3, gap 2. Something like that. You get the idea. We have image and user info. As well, I don't need this row because it's already inside a row. So this view and this view goes away. And I just need on this row to do items center. Good. Now this is my user info or author info. Now we have a post content, a simple text, and then we have the interaction buttons, which has margin top too. I'm going to remove the margin tops from these two, and I'm going to add a gap on the parent. Gap 2. Good. Pressable. Margin left. Gap 4. BG red. Oh, here there is margin bottom. That's what was messing with me. Okay, now it's equal to the top and the bottom. And from gap 2, I can go to gap 4. Perfect. So now when I go on the post details page, it's very clear that this is the post that we are looking at. These are replies. And when there are a lot of them, it's even easier to understand what's what. And later when we add the parent, it's going to make even more sense. Yeah, like that. Let me go ahead and do git add git commit. Display the main post on details page as a separate component. Graham is saying this UI looks lovely. Reminds me when we built a Twitter clone using AWS. We did the stream on Zoom with you long back. Yeah, that was how many, like 1 or 2 years ago? It's nice. Thank you very much. So why did I take this side quest? Well, again, let's remind what I'm trying to achieve is to show the parent post of when we navigate to a post reply page. To do that, first let's figure out the data. That's going to be in the services where we get post by ID. This is the one that we are using to get this post. We get everything about the post. We get the user from profiles. We get the number of replies. But we also want to get the parent, which is also linked to the post. So the parent post, by looking at the parent ID, that links back to the same table. This is going to throw us an error because we have post here and post here. And let's see the error itself. If I'm going to go here again, maybe reload the application, go here. Well, it doesn't do it doesn't throw an error. Let's see the data with JSON stringify because there's going to be a lot of data there. JSON.stringify data null and 2. So what's going on here? If I navigate here, we see replies 7 and parent is actually confused and is giving me the replies, not the parent item. But in this case, this post does not have a parent. Let's see what's going to happen if I navigate to the reply, which has a parent. If I navigate here, it's still confused and the parent is simply replies. Let's think about that. In the post, if I go into the edit table, we have here parent ID. And parent ID foreign key relationship to itself. Parent ID. Because it's with itself, it might actually not even be possible. Because if you look at the database schema, a post links to itself. So there are two-way relationship. A post has replies, which we get by looking at the posts. But at the same time, a post has a parent that is a one relationship based on this parent ID. So if it's not possible in the same request, we're going to do two separate requests, but let me double check that. Supabase fetch parent when relationship with itself. Self relationship not working. Supabase. Where the replied message ID is stored. When I try to select, I get as empty. All the other relations are working fine. ID order message reply to. That one works, thanks. Replied message. FK ID. FK. Users to users messages sender. Let me figure it out. FK ID. Foreign key ID. Worders message. Yeah, like a self-reference case has two possible relationship, a one-to-many and many to one to itself. Getting many to one only works when a column from the origin table is specified as a target. What does that mean? Getting the only works when a column from the origin table is specified as a target. You mean here ID content like this? That's not what it meant. The self-reference embed is kind of tricky when being treated in a special case. Getting the one-to-many can be done with test ID. One-to-many is clear. If we don't treat self-ref as a special case, the above would not work and it would always give multiple choices. I don't see any emotions to the replies, and I don't know which one is the solution. But here was some ideas. Foreign key, where is it taking it from? Foreign key ID. Just reply to public orders, messages. Let me check here in the migrations, in the posts. Post primary key ID. Alter table, post parent ID, foreign key. Foreign key parent ID, references, public, post. I think I might need this one actually. Yeah. Let me try to take this foreign key and use it instead of posts. Not sure what's gonna happen, but let's see. If I do parent and specify exactly like the relationship that I need, it's an error. It's an error. Could not find the relationship between post and post parent ID. Wait a second. I messed up the syntax. Replied message. Orders message. Yeah, I think that should be after the exclamation mark. So it's going to be posts and exclamation mark specify the. Yeah, this one specifies the table and this one specifies the foreign key. Post and post in the schema cache. Doesn't want to work. Could not find a relation between post and posts. We have relationship between post and post. Should I just do a separate query? I mean, this is a bit tricky. It should work. I'm not sure why it's not working. What if I remove this one for a second? Still. I really want it for one query. Like it would be possible with two, but it's going to be so easy if I do it with only one. Select. Foreign key ID orders. Maybe it has this one, but I don't see it. Tables. Okay, so I'm not gonna spend like more time because like this one should work. But what I'm going to do is what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the application protected tabs home post ID where we have a details page, and I'm going to do another query here. Use query, and this one is going to be query key. It's going to be posts. It can be post ID parent, but I'm going to explain in a second why that probably is not the best way. And I'm going to say query function get post by ID post parent, and I can also do enabled only if there is a post parent ID, because if there is no post parent ID, I don't need to run this query, and the result is going to be the parent. I can do here like this. And the thing is, yeah, like I'm going to put this post parent ID in the ID because it's the same getting the post by ID query, just the ID is different. So that's why I'm going to put it here. Now I'm going to take the parent and I'm going to render it as the list header component. No, not list header component. List header component. Above post details, I'm going to render this parent, but I'm going to render it probably as post list item because yeah, like the parent, like it should be as a comment or something like that. So if I reload, what's going to happen? If I go here, just finished reading, everything good. If I go to the new reply, I see new reply here and the parent just finished reading here. If I go to reply, I see reply to reply is the main post of this page and the parent reply at the top. Exactly how we see here. Well, the difference is that we do not have this line. Maybe we can add it in a second. Perfect. Now it simply works. New reply. Yep. Perfect. Let me think. How I will render this connection line between them properly? I'm thinking. I'm thinking how to do it like reusable. Maybe I don't want to create a new component because it can be also in replies, as you can see, grouped together. So maybe I can send a property if it's the last one in the group, only then to render the border at the bottom. And if it's not the last one in the group, it should render one of these lines. I think that's a good way of doing it. In the post list item, the one from the lists, I will add here is last in group. This one is going to be of type Boolean. It can be optional, and I will initialize it with false. No, I will initialize it with true, saying that it is the last one in group. As I said, if it's the last one in group, I will only then render the border at the bottom. So where do we have border? Is it this one, right? Yes, it is this one. So border bottom. It's only, I'm going to do it like this. So if it's last one in the group, it should have a border bottom. Otherwise, it's going to be empty. I'm going to go back here, and for the post list item that displays the parent, I'm going to do is last in the group false. Now, what we see is that these ones in the replies, they have a border, the one at the top doesn't have. And the only thing left is like the line that connects them, right? The line that connects them would be, where would I put it? Let me think. I can play with like absolute positions, most probably. Let me think. There is the user avatar, flex row. And below user avatar, if I do view what's going to be, oh, that's a bit different. The AI, what it thought. I'm going to take the same color for the background. It's going to be gray. Maybe later color. Let's first figure out like the I think I should go with absolute, or maybe not. Items center. Items center. Yeah, gap 1. Height full. Okay, height full is not height auto or self stretch. No. Flex 1. Yep. Self stretch is not what I was looking for. I think this one is what I need. With 0.5. You can even do like with this and specify 2 pixels or something like that, or 3 pixels. Okay, I think it's good. I will do it only if it's not the last one in the group. So if it's last one in the group, the other way around. If it's not the last one in the group, I will have it. Yeah, that's good. Thinking like how to extend it a little bit more. That means that margin right, that this padding shouldn't be here. That padding, if it's not here, it can be here. And where else? And here? No. What did they break? Content, padding, padding Y, only padding Y. And this only padding maybe, you know what I can do? I don't think I need to open right, because this one, yeah. I will leave padding there, not to mess up with that one, but I can do here translate X and something like that. No, Y. And that's going to move it. Not sure if I can get it like properly like center, but I think it's good enough. And I will change from green to gray, or actually neutral. Neutral. 800. 700. Yeah, 7 is okay. And that's it. We have this one here. Yeah, we can do a lot of things. There are a lot of ways of achieving that. Like I can even do a scale 150 to make it, to adjust for that spacing. This is like what I'm doing here with translate and scale is a bit hacky, and I'm pretty sure you can achieve it better with managing better padding or even with absolute position. But I think it works great like this. And now it's really easy to see like what's going on, and reply to reply, third reply, like which is the main post, which is a reply, and so on. Perfect. Look, I think maybe I can give you a way to join this application if you want. But that is our git status, git commit minus display the parent of the post. Perfect. Now we have a very nice reply system. The only thing that now we have to think about is, do we render or do we fetch the replies on in the feed? Because in the feed you're going to see that we have things like reply to reply, and maybe it's okay to have it in the feed, and sometimes that's what X and threads are doing. They're displaying replies as a normal post in the feed. And I can even go here and I see that the context, I see that this is a reply to this post, and I can go up and so on. It's up to you, like, and maybe it's actually going to be the way that you organize the feed, like how you build the feed, but that's another topic. Okie dokie. The only thing that I want to do is, when I fetch this post, I want to order to have like the most recent at the top. I'm gonna go into the services posts. What's going on here? I don't know. In the fetch posts, I'm going to order by created at. I'm going to say, give me the new one at the top. Nice. And with replies, I'm not sure with replies what would be better. Yeah, with replies, maybe you can have them in ascending order, where you can even let the user adjust the sorting order as well. That's also possible. What I wanted to do here in the reply. Let's do padding, everything except padding top, to make sure that the posts are, or maybe that's not the case. Yeah, it depends on how you like it. If you want the flat list here to touch this one, you can add padding top 0. Perfect. What's next? What do we do next, guys? Do we do likes or do we do images? These are two, again, big features. Likes are quite similar to replies. The only thing is that we have to create a separate table. But images would allow us to upload an image when we create a new thread. What do you think we should do? Start a poll. Images. Or likes. While you're answering the poll, I'm gonna get some water and we continue. So what's going on, guys? What do we do? I see a lot of people want to share images in posts. Okie dokie. That's going to be fun. Let's go ahead and do that. All right. The next step is going to be to share images inside the posts. Let's see first on the UI side, on attaching an image when we create a post. In the screenshots, here we see how a new thread page looks like, and it has this icon below the input. It had that icon below the input. So let's go ahead in the page that we have here for new stuff. Let's go into the new, and where we have a text input, even after the error, here somewhere, I'm going to add a row of icons, but now it's only going to have one icon. I'm going to look into the vector icons and say image or gallery or something. Oh, I think this one is looking nice, and typo. It just needs to be gray. If I go here, I need to make sure to import it at the top somewhere. And we should see it right below. Perfect. Margin top. I don't like handling spacing with margin, but okay, let's do it, because that's how AI did that previous time. 20 is good. So that's our icon, and when I press that one, I want to open the gallery to pick an image. For that, I will need the Expo image picker library, and the image picker gives us access to the gallery to select an image. It's working both on iOS and Android. So let's go ahead and start by installing Expo Image Picker. And then we're going to have to configure in app.js. This is mostly for production because it's going to work fine without adjusting this, but you need to pass the Apple review, especially or in Google review, you need to provide the permission string to be very specific. So let's copy this array that has the name and the configuration of Expo Image Picker and bring it in our app.json under plugins. After Expo Router, I'm going to do comma and I'm going to put this array with Expo Image Picker and the options here. The app access your photos to let you share them with your friends. I think that's a good string. Perfect. Let's go back. There are different properties that you can configure here. One of them is photo permission, camera permission if you want to take a picture, and microphone permission if you want to record. And here is the usage. There is a state image that represents the selected image. I'm going to add it at the top here, below the text. There is a pick image function that I'm going to copy from here and bring it in our component below the mutation. Then we need to import everything as image picker from Expo Image Picker. Let's import that at the top. And we call this pick image function when we press on this in typo icon on press pick image. Now if I'm going to go ahead and do that, it's going to open up the photo library. From here I can choose and it's going to set it in state in the image field. It's going to set the URI, the local URI of that photo. Here, when we launch the image, we can select what type we can select. I will limit it only to images. I will allow editing. Aspect ratio, I'm not sure if that's required to maintain. These are result to edit images. Oh, yeah, I'm not going to have it. And quality specify if you want to decrease the quality. 1 means keep it at 100%. 0.5 means reduce the quality like 2 times. I'm going to keep it 1. And the result is console log. So if we look into the logs, we see that we picked the asset with, it has the mime time, it has information about the file size, the height, and so on. But what we're interested in is in this URI. Perfect. So we pick the image. The next step is, well, probably I'm going to display the image here. Maybe, where would I display it? Let me not reinvent the wheel and go ahead here in threads and try it out to see where it's going to display. Select more photos. Done. Let's select it. Come on. Done. Okay, I see. So when I select the image, it adds it right after the text input. It adds it here. So if image is selected, let's display it, but make sure to import image from React Native. Why React Native image? Do we have it anywhere else? Image. I don't think that should be the problem. So if I go here and say like this and then select something, it's going to be displayed here. Let me think how they're handling the aspect ratio for a second. Select more photos. What if it's going to be a vertical image? think what we're doing is we're doing like with, I don't know, half of a screen, one half of a screen, and height is going to be height auto. Can it do that? No, it's an aspect ratio. Maybe I can do aspect square, and that's it. I'm going to simplify it. However, you know the width and height of the images here, width, and you know also the height, so you can get proper the aspect ratio calculated and then set it here. That's also possible. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna keep it like this. So yeah, we see the selected image. If I do a different one, it's going to override it. Perfect. I think that's good. Image, margin top. Let's do margin Y. 2. Maybe even more. 4. That's good. Okay, dokie. So everything on the front end is done and it's good. Image picker. Now it's time to prepare our backend for us to upload images. For that, we need to go into the storage, and here in the storage, we have buckets. Buckets, if you're familiar with S3, buckets basically are collections of data of media. We already have this avatars bucket, but I'm going to create a new one. Let's call it images or media, or yeah, media. Let's make this bucket. Should I make it public? I think I will make it public. And for additional configuration, you can restrict the upload size. You can also specify that you only want images to be uploaded here. And this will only allow images to be uploaded. Maybe later you're also going to add videos as well, and MP4s and so on. But for now, let's just keep it images. Let's do save. Now we have this bucket. Let's see how we can upload a file here. Supabase Storage. I'm gonna go into the documentation. Quick start. Standard uploads. I think is that yeah, on the web it's a little bit different. And I would ever need storage React Native. A blog from Simon. But I think he doesn't have like the upload here. I'm always come to this blog and it's not finished. Because it just has list. It loads images, but on select it has to do upload. Let's go into the build a user management with app, and here at the end I think they have bonus profile photos. It has the Expo image picker, and uploading the avatar is happening by getting the image picker URI, and then what is it doing with it? It's transforming it to this array buffer by fetching the image URI. So what I need is this part. Upload error. Something like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new function called upload image. It is going to do the following. Maybe it's even going to give like the URI here to not depend on the state, and this way be able to extract it later on. So what I'm going to do is saying that, hey, let's fetch the URI, then get the array buffer. Then the file extension is going to be uri.split, and it's going to take the last part to take the extension. The file path is going to take date.now.file extension, and after that, what's going to do is going to do Supabase Storage, not from avatars, but we called our bucket media. So from media, upload path is where do we want to store it. Array buffer is what we want to upload. Content type is going to be image.mime type. That's the thing that we have. We're not storing the mime type there. Look, instead of setting in state just the URI, I'm going to store the whole asset. Image picker asset. So it's going to be, instead of string, it's going to be image picker asset. So set image is not going to be .uri, it's going to be the whole asset. I'm going to go back to work with the image from state. So image.uri, image.uri, and image.mime type, but image can also be null. So if image is null, return. And here image.uri, like this. And look, now instead of aspect ratio square, you can actually do style here, aspect ratio image.width, image.height. And this way, if I select a picture which is more like horizontal, it's displayed as horizontal. If I select a picture that is more, I don't know, vertical, but it's going to be cropped to square, I don't know why, it's going to be like a square. Okie dokie. Now in this upload image, we have both the URI, the mime type, and so on, so we can test it out. When do we want to upload the image? Well, when we press this post button. So let's create a function, const handle post. If there is an image, I want to first upload that image. After that, I want to mutate. That means that handle post is going to be called when we press on the post instead of this mutate. Or maybe I should do that in the mutation function to start like the pending process as well. Let me think. Yeah, I think I'm going to do this part in the actual mutation of creating a post. So in the mutation function, I'm going to open it up like this. I'm going to say return create post, but I'm going to first do if there is an image, I want to upload the image. And this is going to be an async function. So let's see what's going to happen now. If I do post, it first should upload the image and only then create the post. See the problem, new row level security policy. And that's because everything in Supabase is secure the same way with row level security type. So in this media, nobody is allowed to upload anything. I'm going to have to press here and do edit bucket or where. No, under configuration policies of the storage. I'm going to go under media and I'm going to say, let's create a new policy, get start quickly. And let's say, no, let's do a new policy for full customization. Allowed operation. I want to insert and maybe select to authenticated users, bucket ID media. Allow insert and select to authenticated users. If I do that and save this policy and then try again to upload this post. Okay, something happened. If I'm gonna go into the media, I'm going to see a new image, this image that we just uploaded. Nice. The only thing is that the post, if I look in the table editor, the post does not have yet a link to the image saying that this post has this image. To do that, I'm going to have to go into the post and edit this table. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add here a field that will indicate what file, what image is this post containing. I can do image, but maybe I can also do images right away to make sure that our database will be able to support multiple images as well. So if I do images, I will choose the type of string or text. And let's say that in the configuration, this is going to be an array and it can also be null. That's good because there are posts without any images. But the important thing is that I define it as an array and I'm going to be able to add multiple images to the post. Let's do save. And now our post has an array of images. What I can do to make my life easier is pull the new types because I've done a change to the database. I can do that by doing npx supabase gen types TypeScript and dump them into my file, similar to how we did it in previous episode. And while that is happening, let's see in the upload image. Are we returning anything from here? No, we are not. What I want to return is this path, which is the name of a file that we use. So let's do return data public URL. No, let's do data.path, or no, just simply path. Let's do data.path actually. So upload image will give us the path. Let's do let image path is equal to null. Then if there is an image selected, we're going to upload it and store the path. And here in the create post, I'm going to do images is an array where the first item is image path. So in my client side, I'm not going to implement now the possibility to do multiple images, but the backend is already ready to do that by simply adding more items to this array. Let's now try to do post with image, and let's try to select this one from here. Let's do post. And let's go ahead in the database and see that the last post that we created, post with image, in the images has the name of a file that was uploaded, ending with 179. So if I look into the storage media, there is a file with 179. Its file size too large to display, but it's there. Perfect. That means that inside a post in the components, post list item, where we have the post content here, I can say if post images, go ahead and render them. Image source width and height. And if I reload post with image, well, it's not going to be that easy, because in our database we just have the name of a file. We do not have a public URL. Next, I can download the image. Let me check something. Supabase Storage. There is a get public. I want to serving assets. There is this Supabase Storage get public URL, but is like it only works when the bucket is public. So I'm gonna copy this one, and you see it's not await, like it's synchronous. So I can simply go here and say Supabase .storage. I think it's media get public URL image .data .public URL. So it's a bit weird, and in a lot of cases we create reusable components that will receive the image name and will simply do this kind of stuff. But for us, like, not to overcomplicate, this is good. So what I can do here is, how do we render images here? Do we do with full? Yeah, I think we do with full and aspect ratio square. I think. And aspect square. Like that. Nice. And if there will be more images, I'm not sure why that. What's going to happen here? It's going to render them in the same row. Well, it's not tested, like I don't know what's going to happen, if there will be more images. Probably it's not gonna look very nice. So you're gonna have to adjust here a little bit. But what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take these post images. I'm going to go into the post details, because if I press on these post details, I also want to render it here. And I'm going to do the same here. Supabase imported, and if I press here, it's going to work there as well. Where else? In the post reply input? No, I think that's it. Those are the only two places where we want to render it. Nice. And for you, okay, here it's a bit weird. This line, where do we render that line? This one? I think it's the scale that I should not touch. Yeah, I will leave it like this. Okay, looks nice. What's going on here? My types have not been downloaded. Something wrong here with my types. Git status, git commit -m, Supabase images. Perfect. So that's our images as well. What else should we do next? Do we do likes or do we work on the profile page to, I think profile page is important, because with a profile page we're going to be able to set like the name, change the avatar and so on. So let's go ahead and quickly work on the profile page. And the profile page, let's see if I have here. Yeah, this is the profile page. Name, something, something, something. Let me check one thing, or maybe not. In the application, protected, tabs, profile, I have a simple text button here, sign out. First, the profile page is a list of posts by that user. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say const user, first of all, we need the information about the user. And let's go ahead and do data use query posts and user ID. This is not good because this is the same way we structure the key for post details. And let's do it like with an object better, saying the filters is going to be all, or user ID is user ID. Get post by user ID, get post by user ID. Let's see, where do we have it? Do we have it in the get post by ID, and we wanted get post by user ID, right? Yeah, maybe we can do that. I will duplicate this one, get post by ID, and let's say get post by user ID, get posts by user ID. We're gonna fetch this one with reply counts and so on, where user ID is equal to ID, not single, everything. And yeah, we can also order at the latest post at the top. Perfect. Now in profile, we're going to import it from services. Let's do is loading and what? Error. Activity indicator. Like this. Now, well, I'm not sure what's going to happen with this sign out button, but what I know is that I'm going to have a flat list of posts. I don't need key extractor. I don't need that one yet as well. So if I go here, that's what I see. I don't need item center. That's what's making this not work properly. And this is going to be simply the list of all the posts that I created. And it so happens that all the posts in my feed is the post that I created because I'm the only user right now. But we can test it later to make sure that it's actually properly working. What I want to do next is I want some information about the profile. Const user data is going to be query key user with this ID, get user by ID, or get profile by ID. This is actually going to be user profile. That means that in services, I'm going to have a new file called profiles. And let's do export get profile by ID. So we are fetching the profiles table. We select everything from the profile where, yeah, like the profile is equal to this ID, single, and we simply do return data, and we also make sure to throw an error. This get profile by ID is going to be used here to get the user data or profile. Let's call it profile. Now, what do we have in profile? Let's do a console log profile to make sure that we have something. Profile, ID, username, avatar URL, and website. Let's go ahead and start by rendering this UI. It's going to be name, username, avatar. So in the flat list, let's do list header component. Should I do here a component for the header? Yeah, I think that's going to be cleaner. I'm going to go into the components and create a profile header.ts. Maybe tsx should be better. And let's do export default profile header. Render something. Profile header. And from profile, this use query profile, I'm going to move it here in the profile header. Use query. I'm also going to need this use user like this, like this. Yeah, maybe even like activity indicators and stuff. And in the profile screen, this one, the console log as well. In the profile screen, I'll simply render the profile header as the list header component. So if I go to profile, I'll have there this text, which if I do font bold, yeah, it's going to have my profile username. Perfect. So in this profile header, I can focus only on the top part. So the header is going to have my username. First of all, let's think like what data are we going to need on the profiles table, because this table was auto-generated for us. So let's go ahead and edit this table to change some of the stuff. Full name, I think, is something that we need. Username is this one. Good. Avatar URL is this one. Then we have bio. Let's add a column, bio, text, and that's it. Like followers and website is good here. Yeah, I think that's everything that it needs. Only the bio is missing. Good. So we start with actually full name, then username, and then the avatar, the bio, and the image from React Native, image. The username, where is it? Let's go ahead and manually edit this information about our profile, such as full name, Vadim Savin, website, let's do notjust.dev, and bio, I know, let's do something dummy. Save. Okay, if now I reload and come to my profile, okay, something is happening. I need to put the names and the avatar in the same row. So I'm going to add this view flex row and group everything except the bio together. And I'm going to group together as well the names to put them in the same column. Perfect. At the top, I'm going to say justify between to move the avatar to the right. At the top, I'm going to add some padding. Good. I don't need here gray. I need all neutral 200. I'm going to do here, where? Maybe here gap 4. Here gap 2 between the names. And here text LG. Okay, I think that's good enough. This as well is going to change the color to the bio. I'm going to do leading normal to add some more spacing. What's before normal? Snug? Yeah, maybe snug. Yeah, that's good. And in the profile screen, in the list header component, I'm going to render the profile, and right after the profile, I'm going to render a text here saying threads. A simple separation between them. Text white. So yeah, threads. Yeah, something like that. The sign out is like super bad there. I'll comment it out. Okay. Now back in the profile header, what do we have here? We have two buttons, edit profile and share profile. Let's do that right after the bio. I'm going to have a view and I'm going to have two pressable with text edit profile and another one with some other text. But first let me do something like that. Let's see what's okay. That's not too bad. Like the AI, what it did. I don't need rounded full, but rounded LG. I don't need background neutral. I need border and border neutral. 800. Yeah, border 2 I think is going to be good. Yeah, I like this one. Like this way. You can extract it to a separate reusable component, these buttons, but I simply edited them and I can do share profile. Good. So I have a profile page here. That's nice. Let's go ahead and say git add, git commit profile page. Nice. The next step is probably going to be the edit profile. Editing the profile. This one here happens in like very interesting model. I'm not gonna do it that way. I'm going to keep it a little bit simpler actually. What I'm going to do is in the protected tabs, I'm going to switch where the profile tab is one screen to a group of screens. This way I'm going to have a profile page and the edit profile page that I can navigate back and forth. For that, as we did previously with the home screen, I'm going to create a new tab called profile. New folder called profile. I'm going to move this profile there, but I'm going to rename it here as index, meaning that it's the home screen of a profile. I'm going to create a new layout here. And I'm going to say that this is a stack group of screens, where one of them in a second is going to become the edit screen. So profile is working back. The thing is that it needs I'm going to fix that later, but I'm going to create in the profile a new screen called edit.tsx. And here let's do export profile like this. From the index, I mean from the profile header actually, where we have this pressable, I'm going to wrap it around a link to the /profile edit. And I'm going to import this link from Expo router. Now if I press on this edit profile, I'm redirected to the edit profile screen, but I'm still on this tab. So I can go back like this. Perfect. Now let's figure it out the stack stuff. First of all, in the tabs layout where we have, where is it? Tabs layout, this profile will have header shown false because currently it's duplicated. Now profile layout. Let's do it like this. Stack.screen, name, index, options, title, profile, and the other one is edit profile. Okay, that's good. In the edit profile, let's go ahead and add some fields. What fields are we gonna need? The full name. What else? The username. I don't think we're gonna update the username. It depends on you. The bio, the website, and so on. Let's just do full name and bio. So if I go here, I can do edit profile. I have full name and bio. Padding 4, gap 4. And I'm going to figure out like how to style it in a second. For now, what I need is, I need some state for the full name and for the bio. This state imported from React. I need to initialize it with the data about our user. To get the data about the user, similar to how we fetched it on the index of a profile, not get post. I need similar how we did it in profile header. Let's open it. How we have done get profile by ID. We're going to do the same inside the edit. Let's do it like this. And the user is going to be from use off. And I think there is a on success. So after successfully fetching this data, I want to update the state that is going to be changeable to this data full name. But there is no, I don't think there is on success like that. So most probably I'm going to have to do it in a use effect, which I don't like, and maybe it can be done better, but for now let's just do if if profile.id changes, I want to do set full name with profile full name, set profile with profile.bio. So if I go here, edit profile, and if those state variables, I'm going to assign here as value full name on change text set full name, and the same thing to the bio, we're going to see them update here. What's going on here with this stuff? I'm going to look in the new how we style this text input, simply text white. I can also do maybe border. What's going on? Neutral. Let's do it this way. For the bio, I'm going to do it as multi-line. Even more, like 5. Yeah, that's good. Okay, and that's good. Maybe I don't even need the header here if it's good. I will do a save button at the bottom or a save button here. Maybe at the bottom of the screen. I don't know how does it work here. Maybe with a done. Anyway, I'm going to do similar to how we have in the new there button. Let's do it like this. Pressable. Is pending. Well, let's first, define the mutation. And the mutation is going to be for updating, const mutate, for updating the profile by ID with this full name and bio. Let's go ahead and implement this in the services update profile in the profiles. Let's do export update profile. It has ID, but I also want to say that this one is a updated profile of type in stable insert or tables. Come on. Tables insert. I think something happened there. We're gonna check like how to fix it. Profiles. So the implementation is Supabase from profiles updated profiles where the ID is equal to ID, return data, throw an error, and I think we also need to do select single to select the updated profile. We're gonna see if it works. Let's import it here, and we can add the button back in. Save. So if I go to my profile, go edit profile, I have save here. Not sure if it needs to be in that corner. Self and items center. Yeah, maybe like that. Padding 6. Padding 4. So if I do 1, 2, 3 and do save, I don't know what's happening, but we can look in the profiles here to see if the full name changed. Refresh. Come on. It didn't. Oh, because we never call mutate. On press mutate. What we can do right away is on success, I will do router.back definitely to go back to the home screen, and I will also want to invalidate some queries. So let's do const query client, and on success, I want to query invalidate profile for this user ID, because that will invalidate this profile here. So if I go edit profile and say body 1, 2, 3, save, it's going to come back and automatically change it. Same way here, I can change this one and it's going to update, and it's going to be on the database level. Perfect. Looking forward to the ASO session next week. Hey, Jamie, thank you very much. You have any ideas that you're ready to explore? Okay, so let me go back here. Just a chill dude. Save. Here it is. Git status, git add, git commit -m, edit profile. The next step is going to be to edit the avatar as well. And for that, give me just 1 second. I'm going to be back and we continue. Hello. So, where are we at? Jamie is saying I have no idea yet, but I'm going to try the star view ASO tool this evening. What is the star view? Is it a new tool? Nice. Okay, so what I wanted to do is the profile avatar, right? In the edit profile, where is it? Let's go protected tabs profile. In the edit, here at the top, we need to render the image. Or I'm going to call it user avatar picker, something like that. Let's do export default user avatar picker. And what I'm going to do is in the profile edit, let's render here at the top user avatar picker. If I go edit profile, okay, something is there. What I'm going to do is maybe current avatar. I'm going to send the avatar URL. In the current avatar, let's render here an image. Let's do it like that. Edit profile. Okay. Self center. Will that work? Yep, that would work. Maybe 24, 24. Nice. Now what we want to do is we want to do the same selected image. So selected avatar, or maybe I don't even do selected avatar. I'm just going to upload it right away. So from Expo image picker, or maybe even from, let's do Supabase React Native, build a user management here. I'm going to go right away to profile photos and say, give me this upload avatar stuff, and I'm gonna copy everything. I'm gonna bring it here because I'm lazy. What's happening here? So it has uploading. It has image picker. It has state. Image picker dot. Isn't it media types? I don't know, images. Allow multiple selection, false. True, quality. When we get the image, when we get the array buffer, so on, so forth. Then we upload it to avatars. And if everything is good, it calls an onUpload function that is going to be received from the above. Yeah, 1 second. And we do this upload avatar when we probably press on the image. With this on upload, what I'm going to do is in the edit profile, I'm going to say on upload. I'm going to set the newly uploaded avatar somewhere in state. I'm going to say const avatar URL. And here I'm going to set avatar URL. Having this avatar URL, what I'm going to do is when I mutate the data, I'm also going to say, but it's optional, I think. Or no, look, here I'm going to do profile avatar URL, and here I'm going to do avatar URL. Let's see what's going to happen. If I do edit profile now, and if I press on this image and select this one and do choose, something is happening. somehow disappeared. But when I press save, and if I look here in the profiles, it's correct. Like it's avatar URL. We simply just need to download that URL. I think now it's going to be time when we create a new file called Supabase image.tsx. Export default function. Return image. Wait a second. We can query it with use query Supabase image path Supabase storage from maybe we're going to work with download here. Download image like this. Let's make it async. Avatars. Supabase image. It probably can also have the bucket. And this would be dynamic bucket. Bucket. Download path. If error, throw error. Can I do here throw? No, I cannot do throw an error. Okay. Const file reader read set avatar URL. Maybe not set, but oh boy, it's going to be tough. I'll extract it into a separate function, not to confuse you even more. Const download image. Something like that. It's going to return new promise. And here is going to resolve. Should I do reject with error? Return reject. Maybe I don't need the catch and it's going to just simply catch. Wait a second, something is not right. I need one more closing. Is it correct? I don't know. Hopefully. Bucket and path. And that's going to be the data. Image source is going to be data, I guess. What's going on here? promise string. So if it's loading, yeah, we can do that. That's all just to easier render a Supabase image with proper validation, with proper downloading, and so on. So now, if I will replace in my edit, not in my edit, even on the home page here, in the protected tabs, profile, index, if I'm going to say in the profile header, instead of normal image here, if I will render a Supabase image with bucket avatars, with path profile avatar URL and this class name, what's going to happen? Loading and that one. Perfect. So this loading can even be done like different ways. But yeah, like I'm happy with how it is right now. Perfect. So now that is an image from Supabase. And now everywhere we display the image of that user. For example, in the, let's say, in the post list item, this image, it should be Supabase image. Avatars, path, this post user avatar. And now it renders. Not sure why it is here right now. Oh, all good now. Same thing with this image in the post details, where we have the offer. We're going to have Supabase image. Like this. Now it works. And I think this image that renders in the post, I think we can also change it to Supabase image. And instead of source, we can say this one bucket. I think it's media, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, and now it works as well. Hello, Rafael. Hey, how's it going? Will you share this code in some repository? Yeah, you can find it if you go to notjust.dev/project/threads and you fill in the email, you're going to receive the guide, and here there is going to be the code. Okay. You're amazing. I adopted your style of approach. What is my style of approach? Thank you. And where else? Where else? Profile header. User avatar picker. I think this is where I want as well. If I go to the profile, edit profile. In here, instead of this one, I'm gonna have a Supabase image with avatars, with path current avatar. So if I go to the edit image, Come on, why is it slow? Okay, I can change it. But it doesn't change right away. So I'm thinking it changes now. But does it actually change? Takes a little bit of time to load this image. Hey, Rafael, thank you very much. You too. So yeah, it doesn't change unless we press save here. So unless I do, I don't know, this one, choose, and unless I press save. Yeah, now it's going to be changed. Okay. I'm going to save it, but I want to improve a little bit like the way we manage images. Git add, git commit -m, Supabase avatar, and edit profile. What I want to do is, as you can see, like if I reload the application, like it has these spinners for images, which is, I don't think it's the best approach. And then when it loads, it changes the dimensions, the sizes. Instead of that, I think a better approach would be to provide the width and the height of the image that we want to render. And then we're gonna be able to do some nice things. For example, in the components, in the Supabase image, I'm going to go into this Supabase image. I'm going to do width and height, and I'm going to make them numbers. And let's tell them it's going to be 100 by 100 if there is nothing else instead of that. For example, now I'm going to be able to say that this image is going to have width and height. And this loading indicator, I'm going to replace it better with a view that will have also the style width and height. And it's not going to have the full like this. And it's going to have maybe the same class name as here. So I'm going to append class name. So in some cases, if it's circle, it's going to be circle. If it's fully round, it's going to be fully round as well, the loading indicator, and so on. So if I do that, and now go back to, for example, post list item where I have Supabase image here, instead of adjusting the width and height from here, I'll highlight and I see that I want up 48 pixels. I'm going to remove these two from here, and I'm going to say width. Let's go 50 and height 50. So if I reload, you're going to see that I have that. It's much better experience than having a loading indicator while the image is loading. And it's the same size because we know the width and the height that we want to render, and everything is perfect. So everywhere we do Supabase image, I'm going to find it. For example, in post details, let's search it by this. I have here avatars. Instead of width and height, I will do with 50, height 50. Here, what I'm going to do for view width, in this case, I want width 100%. So it's going to be tricky. Aspect ratio square. Or should, oh, I think I went into the wrong direction. I think I should just override the, yeah, wait, I think I went into the wrong direction. Supabase image. The other thing that I want to do, because I can do that for class names. Simply by doing class name here, it's going to work by applying the same one. Yeah, width and height, I'm actually going to comment them out because they're going to come in a second, but it's not for this purpose. It's for another purpose. And what I'm going to do is, I think I'm not going to have a is loading at all. I'm going to have here an image saying data or undefined. I'm going to comment this out and I'm going to simply say that the class name is going to have a bg neutral 900. And this class name, I'm going to move back to having not width and height, but through class name, styling them. Revert change. Here, I'm gonna also do revert change. And if I reload, come on. So yeah, like the loading is going to still render it as an image with this background, as you can see. And after that, it just appears. So it should work like everywhere. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so now I think this is a little bit better experience. It doesn't jump around. It still has the same class name here. Even the error, I don't think it needs like a separate thing. Like maybe like if error to render something. But anyway, next thing what I wanted to do is to solve this problem. Like when we open the application, we see that the image just takes time to load. Why is that happening? Well, that's because these images are quite heavy. Like if I look into the storage for the media, like one of them is 13 megabytes, one of them is 7 megabytes, and so on. So as you can see, like if a lot of posts will have images, that's a lot of data loaded back and forth, which is not very good. What we want to do is we want to go ahead and use Supabase Storage. And if I look in the Supabase Storage, there should be image transformation. when we do get public URL, I can transform and get a smaller image. Let's see what do I mean by that. I'll first show you like what's the total size of loaded images here by opening the, where is it? The debugger by pressing J. So if I press J and going into network and reloading my application, I'm going to select here images, and we're going to see that we load this image, and this image, like, and they are all 13 megabytes, 7.2 megabytes, 7.2 megabytes, and so on. It takes a lot of time. But what if I will say, hey, when we download the image, Supabase download, to download the transform image, pass the transform options to the download function. For example, if a second parameter after download path, I will do here transform and say width 50, height 50, and reload my application. What you should see is that images should load faster, and also I don't think it worked. Maybe it did. Yeah, because this one is already kilobytes. This one is kilobytes. Only the first one, which is what? I don't even know what's that. But it's not loaded through this Supabase storage. I think, yeah, it's some other image, but everything else is already 1.9 kilobytes. And as you can see, like, look how fast it loads now compared to not having these options. And look at the avatars, how slow they load. It takes more than 5 seconds in this case, and with a transform, it takes almost instant. So what I can do is I can do here width and height, and I can pass them here, width and height, if they exist. If they don't exist, what do? I don't know, because should I do a transform here like this, and it should be or undefined. That's good. So if I reload, now nothing is happening, but when I call download image, I can send there transform. That's where I needed this width and height. So I can send here the transform with width and height if they are specified. Let me think how to properly do it. Maybe to do it also like this with a transform. Because if we don't provide, we want to load the original one, right? So this transform, we're going to be able to send it when we render the Supabase image. For example, in the post list item, Supabase image, we can send a transform with 50, height 50. And that should do the trick. Nice. In the profile header, like on this screen, I can do width and height 80 and 80. In the post list item, post details. I have here, yeah, this one I can do like this. And the second one, which is for the image, this one, 300, 300. And let's see what's going on in the logs here. So now when we load these images, I know where is this first one coming from. 7.9, is it this one? I think it's this one. That should be in the post list item. Here, yeah, I forgot to change this one. So this one should be Supabase image with bucket media with path image and with, oh come on, path image and the height 300 over 300. Now if I reload and look here, we're going to see that all the images are less than 36 kilobytes. First one is 29, 1.9, 1.9, and so on. You can feel free to increase the width and height here to have a better quality. But you can also have like low quality here, and when we press on it, you can load it with a better quality. In the post details page here, you can do 800 over 800. I don't know. This is like, it depends on you and how you want to implement it. The only thing I want to do is I want to double check the Supabase image, because here we are caching this Supabase image by path. But I think it should be Supabase image, and I will do here bucket, path, and transform, all of them. Because if the image has a different transform, I don't want to use it from cache. I want to take it new. And I will do here stale time, like a long time, even more, like this is a day. So I think this is good, because images doesn't change too much. So now if I go here, like it should be instantly available. Yeah. Oh, this is, yeah, you saw the difference? I'm not gonna confuse you with that. It loads it here, so when I come here, it's loaded. But when I go here, it's, yeah, it's loaded like bigger, so that's why it takes a bit more time. Perfect. So this was the git add git commit -m image transformations. Perfect. What else should we do? What else would you like me to see do? We have around like 20 more minutes. Help me fix this bug if possible. Supabase just not working with Expo SDK 53. The package at node module stream attempted to import the node standard library module stream. Yes, 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 you are right. Let me double check one of my private things. I'm going to show you in a second. I think I fixed it. How? Don't remember. Let's look together. Here is where I updated one of the projects from 52 to 53. And what did I do? Up index. What did I do? Up.json. No. I'm sure I fixed that issue. And as you can see, I was here on GitHub. Let's see what's the solution, because I just simply forgot. Oh yeah, unstable enable package export. This was the solution by brand. So I'm also going to show you where is it in Metro. Probably not here, maybe in the next one. In the next commit that I've done. Anyway. Or maybe it wasn't here. No, this project does not have Supabase. Wait a second, it was another project. But anyway, the solution from brand is working. That's what worked for me, at least. So I sent you the link. Okay, perfect. What I'm going to do is in the new screen here, I'm going to work a little bit. In the new screen, I will need information about the profile. Similar to how we got it in the profile header. I'll get this profile in the new. I don't need loading an error. Use query. Maybe this can be something that I actually get from the use of itself. What do you think? Let's go into the use of and add here this query. And let's export the profile for here. Let's say that, hey, there can be a profile. And in the new, I'm going to simply take it without querying it. I think this way is going to be way easier. Or I can call it my profile or something like that. So what I'm going to do, instead of saying username, I'm going to say profile.username. New. Yeah. And before that, I'm going to put a Supabase image. Avatars, profile avatar URL. Okay, that's good. And I'm going to put everything. Like from here, view this is going to go together with everything error, this one, except that one. There is going to be another view with flex row again until here. Yeah, that's good. Only thing is that it's not item center and it's a gap 4. Nice. So if I do here, that's closer to this one where I have a name. Nice. Hello, Daniel. When is the next stream about AI girlfriend app? I don't know. I need to work on it. So yeah, here in the new screen, we have an avatar as well. Perfect. I'm going to do git add, git commit -m, new thread screen with user info. Perfect. All right. I think I'm going to finish it here because we are at a very good moment. Like I think this application can serve as a starting point for so many projects of yours. So if you're interested, if you are building a social media application, feel free to check out the repository and start from there. And I might or might not continue working on this one and launch it as a project that you can use to start your own projects. So if you are working on a social media application and you need help to get started with production ready with even more features like this, shoot me a message and I'm gonna see if I continue doing something like this, because I really enjoy working here on this project and there are so many advanced features that I want to add. But on YouTube, we need to bring in different projects. We have a lot of things coming up. So yeah, if you enjoyed this tutorial, make sure to subscribe to the channel. And I'm going to work right now on one additional feature. I'm not going to do this publicly because again, I have to finish in time, like before the 4-hour marks. And we are offering these extended live tutorials for our Notjust Club members. Notjust Club is where you will get extended live tutorials, exclusive tutorials on our channel, and a separate Discord membership. So if you're interested in following along additional features, go ahead on our channel, press join, and you're going to have access to the extended tutorial. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to finish this public live stream and I'm going to continue working on this application. And my goal is to add one more feature, and that is going to be push notifications. So if you're interested, make sure to join. And even later, if you watch this video and you still want to see how to implement push notifications in this app, you're going to have access to this extended tutorial and to everything else, to all the other extended tutorials that we have already done. So yeah, if you're interested, come there. We already have like more than 3 or 4 exclusive videos just for you guys. All right. if you're already a member of Notjust Club, I'm going to see you in 5 minutes. And everyone else, thank you for joining. If you enjoyed this tutorial, make sure to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you later.